Hi guys, welcome back. Have you ever wondered why Instagram loads faster the second time when you open the profile, or why Facebook or YouTube does not download the thumbnail every time? So the answer is caching. But we have a limited memory. So the question is, what should we remove when our cache is full? So that's what we are going to answer today. So stay tuned. So let's first understand the problem here. So consider that we have a cache of size 3, like we can store 3 requests in the cache. So let's suppose that user request user A data, user B data, user C data, and in the cache we save the user A, user B, and user C. Okay. So in the cache we already have user A, B, and C. Now if a user opens the profile of user A, this user A is already in our cache, so there is no database call since it's already in memory. Okay. Now let's suppose you open the profile of another user, like user D. So our question is, how we save this user D data in the cache, because our cache is already full. The limit is 3, size is 3, and we already have 3 users in the cache. So how we store this D? So which item we remove from the cache? Okay. Should we remove the first item from the cache? Maybe, but not always. Should we remove the random item from the cache? I think it would be terrible. No. Okay. So what should we remove? We should remove the item that isn't being used from the longest time. Okay. So this is called the least recent used. Okay. So the item which is not being used from the longest time should be the first one to remove from the cache. So it is called the LRU cache. Okay. So let's first now understand like how this LRU strategy works. Okay. So in the above, we build the initial cache with user A, B, and C. Okay. So when you access the user A, what we need to do is we need to move the data of the user A as the most recently used one. Okay. So we move from A from least recently used to the most recently used. So the order of the cache becomes B, C, A. Now let's suppose there is another user data D which comes, okay, which arrives. Now we have to store the D. So in our cache, the least recent used is the B one. So we remove the V and insert the D. So now our cache becomes CAD. Okay. So we remove the B, we insert the D. So this is the strategy behind the LRU, least recently used cache. Okay. So now like let's think like how we can build this LRU cache. Okay. So can we use a simple array? Okay. Let's suppose. So first of all, to build this, to build the LRU cache, what we need to do is we need to find the item that is going to be used, remove it, okay, and we need to save the item at the end. So basically what we need to do is we need to find the items from the array. The 3 operations we need to use: find it the item, remove the item, push the item to the end. Okay. This will work with the array. Okay. So if we maintain the array, like first we save the users A, B, C. Okay. uh, then we access the A. So what we need to do is we need to find the A from the array, remove it from the array, and push it into the end. Okay. So the array becomes BCA. Okay. So now when the D arrives, so what we need to do is we need to find the first element from the array, remove it, then insert the D. Yeah, it will work. But array has one problem: the complexity. The complexity to find the item in an array takes O n. So the question is, can we make it better? So the answer is yes, we can make it better. So first of all, what we need to do is we need two things to create the LRU cache. So our data structure must be accordingly so that we are easy to find an item. Okay. So, and we can track which item is the most recently used item so that it should not be removed from the cache. Okay. So in this video, I am going to use JavaScript's map. Why? Because JavaScript map has fast lookup and it also maintains the insertion order. Okay, so for this video, I will build the simple LRU cache using the JavaScript map. Okay, so stay tuned. Okay, so let's see how we will build this most recently used item. How do we make an item that it is the most recently used, or how we can remove the least recently used item? So let's build it. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I have already created a skeleton class LRU cache. We will have the capacity of the cache, okay, and of course the JavaScript map because it will maintain the insertion order and it is easy to find the items. Okay, so there I have put two helpers, get and the put. Get is to get the item from the cache and put is to put the item in the cache, and it is just a helper method to print the cache so that we can see. Okay, so let's first work on the get method. Okay, so when we are trying to access an item from the cache, what we need to do is we need to move that item at the end of the cache so that it can become the most recently used item. So let's do that. First, let's get the item from the cache. So value is equal to this dot cache dot get key, right? Okay. Now we have to make this value, right? We have to make this value the most recently used. Okay. So how do we do that? First, we delete this key from the cache. We already get the value from the cache. So let's first delete it from the cache and put it at the end. So this dot cache dot delete key and this dot cache dot set. To set the item, we need the key and we need the value. Okay. Now this item becomes the most recently used. Okay, so here we can just return the value. Okay, but what if the item is not in our cache? So what we need to do? So let's just add a check here. If this dot cache dot has key, if cache does not has this key, so what we do is we just return null. So the item is not found in the cache. So you can make a network request, get the data, and then use the another helper to put the data in the cache. Okay. But if the item is in the cache, already in the cache, we get the value from the cache, we delete the key. Okay. Then we again insert back the key to make it most recently used. Okay. So this cache is a JavaScript map and it maintains the insertion order. So if we put the key value here in this map at last, so it will maintain the insertion order. Like the order in which we put the key value pair, it will maintain that order. So now we are putting this key that we are going to access in this map. So it will be at the last. So it will be the most recently used. Okay. So now what if we want to put the item in the cache? Okay. So first of all, again, let's suppose if the item is already available in the cache. Okay. So if this dot cache dot has key, so we will just not this dot cache dot delete. So we will just delete it because if the key is already in the cache, we have to delete it and we have to put it at the end so that it also becomes the most recently used. But But before inserting this new key value in the cache, we have to check is our cache already full. So let's check if this dot cache dot size is greater than equal to our capacity, right? The capacity that we defined here. Okay. So if it is greater than, so now we need to remove the item from the cache which is the least recently used. So const LRU, let's suppose is equal to this dot cache dot keys dot next. We iterated the keys and we get the value of the key. We get the key. So this is the key which is least recently used. So we can just remove this dot cache dot delete, not remove, delete least recently used one. Okay. So we remove the least recently used data from the cache. Now we can put this new data. It will be at the end so that it will be the most recently used. So this dot cache dot set. We have the key. We have the value being passed. Okay. So that's it, I guess. Yeah. Okay. So let me put some comments. And putting it at the end. Okay, putting it at the end. All right. All right. So now let's just test it. Okay. So I have already instantiated the LRU Cache class where I pass the capacity as 3. Okay. So we just want to have a cache with the size of 3. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I will put the user A, user B, and user C. So this will be our cache. Then I'm going to access the A. So our cache should become BCA. Then I'm going to insert the D. So our cache should become CAD. Okay. So let's do that. Okay. So how? So first of all, cache. Oh, sorry, and the comments. Cache dot put. I want to put user A. This is the let's suppose the data of the user A. Then cache dot put user B, data of user B, then cache dot put user C, data of user C. Okay, so let's just print the cache. Cache dot, we have a helper function to print, so let's just print it. Okay, so let's see. Node cache. So our cache is A, B, and C. So this you can see. Okay, this is done. Now let's suppose we want to access. Now let's access A. Okay, so I will just print cache dot get user A. I want to get the access A. So after accessing the A, let's print the cache dot print. So let's see. Sorry. Of course. So now see, our cache was A, B, and C. We inserted 3 users. Now we access the user A. So now our cache becomes B, C, A. So A is removed because it was the least recently used, and it is put at the end to make it most recently used. Now to validate this case when we insert a new user. So let's do that. Okay, so cache dot put. Now we have another user key with data user d. We put it in the cache. Now let's print the cache dot print. Okay, so let's see. See now, our cache is this. We access the user A, so our cache become BCA. Now we inserted the user D, so our cache becomes C, A, and D, and B is removed here. So because B was the least recently used. Okay, so perfect. Okay, so this is how we can build a LRU cache. Okay, this is what LRU cache is. So we should remove the least recently used items from the cache so that new items can be inserted. Okay, yeah. So this LRU cache technique is used in most applications or all over the world. For example, it is used in our browser tabs. Okay, browser, like when you open the browser tab. Okay, so if you have already opened the site, next time when you reload the page, it is faster. Okay, so it is used in as I mentioned, like YouTube does not download the thumbnails every time. Okay, Facebook also does not download the profile pictures every time. Okay, even the CDN, content delivery networks, so from where you provide the documents or the files. Okay, so it also maintains the cache. Okay, so in the mobile apps like I talked about, Instagram, even we have the Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all the social apps, everything. So they use the LRU cache technique to load the apps faster. Okay, so guys, but here in this demo, we use the JavaScript map, okay, because JavaScript map maintains the insertion order, and it is easy to find the elements from the map. Okay, it is all gives us O1 complexity. Okay, that's why we use the JavaScript map in this demo. But in production apps, generally the combination of HashMap plus doubly linked list is used. Okay, so yeah, HashMap plus doubly linked list is used. Okay, which will make sure that the complexity stays at O1 always. Okay, this is, I'm talking about the productions. Okay, but here in this video I explained the technology, or I explained what is LRU cache, how we can build it. Okay, but in production app, generally HashMap plus doubly linked list is used. Okay, so if you like this video and if you want me to create a video using HashMap plus doubly linked list, please put your comments in the video and I will work on that. Okay, so thank you guys, thank you so much. I hope you like the video. Thank you so much.